Hello everyone, welcome to Sharmit. In this session, we are going to talk about another very important topic related to query parameters and API, where we will learn pagination using query parameters. I'm sure you heard about this term pagination because this is very important concept, right? So today we will learn and explore that, like what is pagination, why do we really need it, and how it is helping us to load the data properly. But before we proceed further with this session, I would like to recommend you to please go and check out the previously released session first, because they all are in proper sequence and sync. So if you follow it sequentially, then it would be much more easier for you to understand the ongoing topic, because for time being we are just mainly focusing on how to use pagination with query parameter. But prior to that, you should know about those terms which we have already covered, like HttpParams, how to pass parameters, and all basic thing. Okay, so for that you can also refer the Sharmit digital course book, which is freely available in the description box. There you will find thousands of sessions available in both Hindi as well as English language. So without any language barrier, you can easily consume the content, and in case if you have any queries or questions related to that, feel free to reach out to me through comment section. I would be more than happy to answer all your queries there. Okay, alright, so let's try to understand what is pagination. So firstly, I'll give you the demo of the application that I have already created. I'll show you the output and the API that we are using here, and then we will see the logic that I'm using to call this to make this work. Okay, so for that, firstly we will see the output. So here you can see in output, firstly I'm populating Angular course by Sharmit as my main heading. Then we have pagination using query parameter, which is our second heading or topic of today's session. Then we have one horizontal row just to make it look properly. Then we have one heading post, and we have three buttons: page 1, page 2, page 3. And below to this page 1, page 2, page 3, inside the block of horizontal rows, I have put ID and the title. Okay, but you can see ID is from 1 to 5. If I click on button page 2, 6 to 10. If I click on page 3, 11 to 15. And by default, when we are not passing anything, it will load the first 5 records. Clear? Now some of you might be thinking like which API I'm using. So it's a public API, you can also use it. Okay, so it's a public JSON placeholder post where you will find all the data. So we have this data. Now try to understand why do we really need pagination. Okay, so just assume that this is your Flipkart or Amazon or any e-commerce website where we have this much of data present, right? Hundreds of IDs are there, right? So out of 100 IDs, let's say if you are searching for some gadget on your Flipkart or Amazon, okay, let's say mobile. So if you are searching mobile and we have hundreds of mobile, even there are thousands or lakhs of product, right? So if all those data load at the same time, it will cause heavy issue, right? Because it will slow down your application as well. So instead of loading everything together at a time, what we do, we divide the data into chunks of pages. Okay, we divide multiple pages and then store the data there. Okay, so in that situation, how we will handle things, let's say I want to fetch the first page where we will consider only 5 record, then second page next 5 record, third page next 5 record. So this is how I want to fetch my data, so that it will not become heavy process for my application. Okay, so this concept is called pagination. Like instead of fetching the entire data at a time, we are fetching it inside a chunks of data. Clear? I think this part is clear to everyone. Now what I'll do, I'll just explain you the code, the actual code that we are using, so that you can create this kind of example. So for that, I'll just quickly show you the basics things first, because I'm sure some of you are directly watching this session. So for them, like we have one file that is called app.config.ts file, where we have stored everything like this. And here we are basically enabling the API call by declaring or defining the provide HttpClient. Make sure this thing is there in your application, because if it is not there, it won't allow you to call any API. Okay, so provide HTTP client is very important. Once it is added, then you are good to use API in your application. Okay, so let's go to the component now, because we all know that we mostly write the logic inside a component. Okay, so here in components, what I'll do, like if you don't know how to create component, you can run the command ng for Angular g generate c component, and the name of the component is comp1. So if you press enter on this command, it will automatically create the component for you with required 4 files like css, html, spec.ts and component.ts. Now from this file, we will just simply go to comp1.component.ts file, where we have this selector. Okay, rest of the logic I'll explain later, but when you create it from scratch, you will also find the selector value. So just copy that value. Why? Because we want to connect this component with our main application, right? So here you can see app.component.html file is there. Okay, and here inside this app.component.html file, I'm using this app.comp, but prior to that you should import it. Okay, so here we will import comp1 component, and in imports array also we have this comp1 component, so we have imported it. Okay, now you can just use it. So till now what we did, we created app.config.ts file where we enabled the API call. Then we have component.ts file, not ts, HTML file. Here I am using it. Okay, so here, yeah, in component.ts we imported the comp1 component, and in HTML we are firstly providing the required headings like Angular course by text Sharmit, page and main heading, that is pagination using query parameter, and then we have horizontal row to connect my comp1 component, and this is the selector value which we copied. Okay, so basically it provides me the output of comp1 component whenever we write the logic there. Fine, till here we are good. Now I'll show you how you can make the pagination work. So for that we will go to comp1.component.ts file. Here you can see we have this these files that we have already imported, like common module, HttpClient, HttpParams, right? So these are the things that we really need to perform our example or demo. Without this we won't be able to use. Okay, so now when you create the class from like component from scratch, you will find this class empty. Okay, so this logic I have added intentionally. Let's see what we did. So firstly I created this array of post that will hold the entire output when we are fetching it from API, and then we will display it using this post. Okay, now we all know we need to create one constructor for private HTTP for HTTP client. So whenever you want to access this value, you will use this HTTP. Okay, then we have one ng-on-init method. In case if you don't know any ng-on-init, you can refer one of our session. There we have already explained this thing in detail. Okay, but for now just understand, like it's a kind of method that will be automatically executed whenever the application is loaded. Okay, so this is called ng-on-init method. So in this example we are just setting the default value for load post, that is 1. So whenever this application get loads for the very first time, it will show the message it will not show the message, it will load the data for first user ID. This is my by default value. Okay, after that we are using load post method, and here I am passing the page as page number parameter, and then we are setting the HttpParams. So const params new HttpParams dot set underscore page underscore limit, and limit is set as 5 and page is set as the parameter. In case if you want to set the limit also with the parameter, you can do this, but in this situation I just want to take the value of page number from user through button, and limit I will set 5 only, because I want 5 records per page. Okay, then we are calling the API. So this dot http dot get any http JSON placeholder params. So whatever configuration we have done here will be attached to it, and then it will get the response by subscribing it, and then we will store it into this dot post. Okay, so once we got the data, it's time to show it. So post, then first button sets the value as of page parameter as 1. For second it will set to 2 and 3. Okay, likewise if you want to add more pages you can add. And then we are simply executing one for loop to iterate through post of ports. We are also tracking the post ID so that it knows what values have been changed, and then we are showing the paragraph value as post ID hyphen post title. That's it. Okay, so now understand, like when for the very first time when the application loads, it loads with the data 1 because we have set this value as default in our ng-onlet method. Clear? In case if user press 1 again, it will send the value 1. If it press 2, it will send 2 and 3. Okay, so it totally depends on the button that we have pressed. So let's execute the method application and see how it is working. I think now you know the logic, so things would be more relatable. So here we can see we have a page 1. By default it loads all data for page 1 because it is set as default. If I click on page 1, still it is sending 1, so it is sending data for 1. In case of 2, 6 to 10. In case of 3, we have got 11 to 15. Okay, so this is how you will get the data according to the page number. So I hope this session is clear to all of you. In the next session we will discuss few more things. Meanwhile you can do the practice, and if you have any question, feel free to reach out to me through comment section. So yeah, thank you for watching Tech Sharmit.